Hey guys, what's going on? It's Sorrowful here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Wind Archer revamp. I would love to show you guys all the Cygnus Knights revamps, but unfortunately I only have the Wind Archer as of now. I will be trying to make a Thunderbreaker in the near future, so maybe you guys could look forward to that as well once I get one going. But in the meantime, hope you guys could enjoy this video and, maybe make a Wind Archer if you like how they look. So first off, we're going to go ahead and Nexon gave an SP and AP reset to all Cygnus Knights. Well, not all, but the Wind Archer, Dawn Warrior, and Thunderbreaker. They reset the SP and the AP on all those, so you got to reassign them to the skills. So now in beginners for Cygnus Knights, they have this skill called Elemental Slash, which doesn't cost any MP, which is pretty neat for when you're just starting out. And you just basically hit like that, and it hits a few monsters in front of you for some decent damage. Alright, and next, they also gave us something called Link Manager instead, which is how you manage your link skills now. It's a lot better than the old system. And then they also have something called Imperial Recall, which is a new skill, and it returns them to a rev immediately, costs 100 MP, and it has a pretty lengthy cooldown. But it's a really cool skill. I always like skills like this because, saves you the time of transportation. So it's pretty cool. And lastly, they have something called Elemental Shift, which is their flash jump, and they get it at beginner job. And it only costs 4 MP, and it looks like so. It goes really, really far, but it's not a triple jump, so you could only use it once. But it goes really far, so I like it. And that's all for beginner. Next up is first job. I have to use Soul Arrow to show you guys the skills. That's the new Soul Arrow. We'll get to it later. But their first attacking skill, which is really cool, I really like it. It's called Breeze Arrow. It does some decent damage. It hits 5 enemies for 3 times, and the skill actually looks really cool. I'll show you guys right now. So it looks really cool in my opinion. Like, I really like it. It's nice and straight arrows. Goes kind of far as well. And so that's their first skill, Breeze Arrow. And then you got something called Wind Walk, which is a pretty unique skill if I don't say so myself. It just goes like this basically, and you could literally glide for as long as the map is. Like, I'll show you. And while you're doing this, you don't take damage from mobs, unless of course you stop clicking it. And so you could even flash jump after, so you could chain it with flash jump, as you just seen there. So it's a really cool skill, and you just hold it down or you tap it if you want. Really, really cool skill. And what's really cool about it as well is you can use it on the floor, and it won't make you go off an edge. So I really like that. Like, you won't fall off an edge by using it. See? So it's a really cool skill. I really like it, and I can see how it's useful in some cases. So that's Wind Walk. I decided to max it out. Next is their passive skill, which is gives 20 weapon attack, 400 accuracy, 400 avoidability, and it increases your range. So it's really cool. It's called Whispers of the Wind. You get to max it out, which is nice. And then Storm Elemental. They took away the summon, the little summon that Cygnus Knights had, because it was really useless, to be honest. Their summons were really crappy, unless of course you did the Cygnus Knights hack where the summon would attack the whole map and you'd level like crazy. But for those people that weren't hackers, the summon was pretty much useless, and they really revamped it to make it something really cool and really strong to like always be good to use, because it gives 10% damage. So it's not like 10 weapon attack, but it's actually percent, so it actually scales with your funding and scales with your levels. So it gives 10% damage for the typical 3 minutes, and it looks like this. I'll do it again. So it's a really fast animation as well, and I really like how it looks. So it's a really, really cool adjustment that they did, and it's a really nice skill. Storm Elemental. Alright, that's first job. Second job, you got Fairy Spiral, which looks like this. Just gonna buff up, so I have Soul Arrow on. It looks like this. It basically knocks monsters back, and I'll go ahead and show you guys right now. Sorry for the lag. So it's a really, really cool skill. I really like how much damage it does, but you can't jump and use it. I'm trying right now and you cannot jump and use it. But it does good damage. It attacks 3 times, and it pushes mobs back. So it's really, really helpful skill, and it's super neat animation. You can't argue with this animation. And it goes pretty far, so that's really awesome. So that's Fairy Spiral. You got Gush Shot, which is your other attacking ability for second job. Alright, so we'll go ahead and use it on a mob for you guys. And sorry for my damage, like I have 0 equips on this guy right now. So as you can see, you know, it's like piercing arrow from crossbowmen. Okay, so that's that. It's like piercing arrow. A pretty cool skill as well, but you don't need to max it out. You could also use my what I have leveled up as a skill guide, since people don't have a skill guide for this class yet. I'm pretty confident in the things I put up, and so you could just copy what I did. Alright, so I'll go back to first job so you can see. Max everything but breeze arrow. Second job, you want to max everything but gust shot, because you're not going to use this skill ever again. So yeah, and then trifling wind is basically a passive skill that shoots out those purple things whenever I use an ability. It's super amazing, and I think it's what puts wind archers over the edge of other classes. I think it's what makes them more towards the broken side of the scale. So it's really awesome, and it does a lot of damage and stuff. So it, like if you're fighting a boss, it just goes crazy. You got the typical bow mastery, typical physical training, nothing new here. You got bow booster, I'll show you. Bow booster looks the same, nothing new. And then this is basically your new soul arrow, but the thing is it also gives 10% crit rate, and it also gives 20 weapon attack, so it's way better than soul arrow in every way possible. And even the skill animation is better, so it's 100% better, and I'll show you guys how it looks. It looks like this. Yep, that's the soul arrow now. Super awesome. Bow booster, and that skill again. Alright, so you got 3 buffs going already at second job. So that's it for second job. Third job next. First, what you're going to want to do for third job is max everything but pinpoint pierce. You're not going to really need this skill, and although you don't need this skill as well too much, you're better off putting it into this skill, because this skill is too weak to compare with Hurricane. Okay, so you're going to want to max this skill as opposed to pinpoint pierce. So starting with Sentient Arrow, it's a really cool skill. It's the new arrow rain for wind archers, and it's super amazing. You basically, it's a key down skill, so you have to hold the key down in order for it to like work, and it attacks 6 enemies with 165% damage, and you could move it around. So it's like the Luminous beginner skill or first job skill where you could actually move it around and stuff, and it has a max range, but however it does not trigger this trifling wind. So I'll go ahead and show you guys it. So it just looks like that. Okay, you can move it up and down on platforms, but it has to be within a certain range, so that's as far as it could go. Okay, now I'll go ahead and use it on some more mobs. Okay, so you can just see how strong this skill is, right? Like, it's really amazing, and yeah, so it's really cool. The animation is pretty sick as well, so that's always nice. And then you got the pinpoint pierce, the skill that you're not supposed to max, or you could if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. It just looks like this. You shoot a monster once, and then it shoots another shot after it. So nothing really special there. Alright, so that's the 2 attacking skills you get for third job. What really does is the arrow range, so yeah, you really don't need this skill at all. Next you have part 2 of Trifling Wind, which obviously just strengthens the previous form. So as you can see, it's called Trifling Wind 2. It just adds some more damage to it, you know, the usual buffs. Next is Featherweight. Really cool skill. It reduces all damage you take by 30%, and it gives you 10% of normal stats resistance. So really cool passive skill, especially for third job. Next you got your Second Wind, which is amazing skill. It gives 30% avoidability off the bat, like 30% off the bat. It gives you 1,000 weapon and magic defense, and it also gives you 15 weapon attack every time you avoid damage from a monster. So it's super crazy skill. Like, I love it, and I love it. It's really cool. And next you have your 4th buff, called Albatross, and it's a really cool buff. Gives some nice stats. It gives you 20 weapon attack, 1500 HP, 10% critical, and it increases your attack speed. So it's just like a huge buff overall, and it looks like this. So that's Albatross for you. Okay, and you have that little like swirly lines going around your body, like you're about to like become nuclear or something. So it's really cool, and that's that. Next you have your replacement for Puppet, the skill Puppet. It basically does the exact same thing, except it does not attack back in this form. So yeah, and it also slows affected enemies. By affected, it means enemies that are close to it, like enemies that are around your flower. It looks like this. So enemies that are around it get slowed, and I'll show you on monsters right now. Let me just buff up. Alright, and so it works like this. So enemies that are around it, pretty much they get slowed, as you can see. So it's really cool skill. I'm just going to go ahead and kill those. Alright. Alright, so that's it for third job. Remember, you do not want to max pinpoint pierce. Fourth job is completely amazing. Like, honestly, it's the first class in the whole game where I've wanted to max every single fourth job skill immediately. Like, it was so... I don't know the build for this, but I went with what I think I'm gonna need most. And so I don't know the build for fourth job yet, but I just feel like you have to max everything. Like, honestly, just try to max everything ASAP. The only thing I don't really care about is the upgraded emerald flower thingy, which is basically like the upgrade to puppet. The only thing is that it has more HP, and instead of attacking back like the upgraded puppet, it instead also lowers monsters' defense. So you don't really need that, but like everything else is amazing, and I'll get into it right now. Which is, first off, you have your hurricane, which is way better than the current hurricane. It's called Song of Heaven, and at max level, at max rank. Oh, let me say this as well. For a fourth job Cygnus Knights, you don't need any books at all. So you have everything already available to you to max out. So it's awesome as hell. The only thing is though that they don't have Maple Warrior. I'm not sure if they're supposed to, but I thought they were. Like, I'm pretty sure Cygnus Knights are supposed to have a Maple Warrior, but apparently they don't. So maybe you have to unlock it doing a quest or something, but I'm not entirely sure. But basically, you don't need any skill or mastery books for fourth job Cygnus Knights, so it's pretty awesome. So I went ahead and maxed Song of Heaven. Max rank, it hits 4 enemies, so not one enemy, but it hits 4 enemies for 250% damage. But the thing is, if you're only attacking one enemy, say a boss, then it'll have 40% increased damage, okay, or 30% increased damage. So it'll be doing 280 or 290% damage per hit, and it's a hurricane. I'll go ahead and show you guys how it looks. Let me buff up again. So the hurricane looks like this. Like, how beast does it look? Like, doesn't it look like it just obliterates everything in its path? Like, look at it on its own. It looks way faster than Hurricane, and it looks like it shoots fast. Like, it looks like it's hitting faster as well. And the thing is, it hits 4 monsters instead of 1. So, you know, Hurricane is definitely outplayed right now. Compared to Song of Heaven. So that's your main, you know, 1v1 attack skill, which is the reason why I say you don't need Pinpoint Pierce, because you get this Beast Hurricane. Second up, you got Spiraling Vortex. Really cool animation for this one, and it's your new mobbing skill, but the thing is, it also knocks monsters back. So at rank 1, it gives it knocks back 7 enemies and does 264% damage 5 times. So that's crazy. And then on top of that, it also has splash damage, which hits the same 7 enemies, but with less damage, 143% damage, and it attacks 2 times. So in total, this skill is pretty much hitting 7 times. Like, it's crazy. Okay, so this skill is definitely awesome. I'll go ahead and show you guys that right now. As you can see, the animation, the skill attacks really fast as well, and like, the splash damage is cool. So it attacks 5 times, but it could attack 2 more times. So it's really cool. Really cool and strong skill. That's your new mobbing skill, which is why you don't necessarily need the arrow rain, but like I said, you definitely don't need this, so it's better to just max that out. Alright, so that's that skill. Next, you have the third upgrade and final upgrade to Trifling Wind. Again, it just adds some stats to it. You got your typical bow expert or weapon expert. As I said, you have the upgrade to the emerald flower or emerald dust. Okay, emerald flower, and not really necessary or needed. You have albatross max, which upgrades your albatross buff by a lot. So basically it brings it up to weapon attack plus 50, gives you 25% damage, 15% ignore enemy defense, 25% crit rate, and abnormal status plus 15%, and plus it still raises your attack speed. So this skill is pretty much one of the best buffs in the game, hands down. It's such an amazing buff, and I'll show you. Like, look at my range without it. My range is only 8.5k without it, but when I use it, it gives me a flat 5k. So imagine if I actually had a good range, how much it would add. So it's just a crazy skill. It also gives you a bunch of crit rate, ignore defense. It gives you everything you want basically in a skill. So really awesome skill. Next up you have Wind Blessing, which has one of the best animations in the game for a buff, in my opinion. Like, this skill's animation looks so cool and I love it. But basically it's kind of like Illusion Step for Bowmasters, except way better because it gives percent dex, and it also gives percent HP. It gives you percent avoidability and percent accuracy. So it's way better than Illusion Step, but it's kind of similar in the sense that it gives you dexterity. So at rank 1 it gives you 2% dex, 1% accuracy, 1% avoidability, and 5% HP. And this is how it looks. Like, how beast is that animation? Oh, that animation is so beautiful. Like, it's so immaculate, that animation. I just love it. So that's all the buffs you pretty much get, other than Sharp Eyes. You also get Sharp Eyes, typical Sharp Eyes, same as Bowmaster, same as Marksman. So you get Sharp Eyes as well. That's pretty much it for fourth job, or well, for Wind Archer in total. The only thing I do not have unlocked yet is the hyper skill, but you guys know how I do. I always make a separate video when I get the hyper skill, so definitely look forward to that because I will be training this class. This class is just so awesome and fun, so why not train it? And once I get the hyper skills, you know, I'll definitely make the hyper skill video. So thank you all for watching. This has been a Wind Archer Revamp. This has been Soulful Memory. Don't you guys forget. See you all later. Let me know what you think in the comments.